Hello and welcome to another video. Today we will discuss the Jurassic Park whole film tale. Please remember to like and subscribe before we begin. Let's get this party started. A half year after the end of the Jurassic World amusement park on Isla Nublar, a gathering of hired soldiers are shipped off Isla Nublar to recuperate the bones of the Indominus Rex from the Jurassic World tidal pond for the making of another hereditarily changed crossbreed, the Indoraptor. A submarine is sent down to recover the bones, and it sends them up on a float before it is gone after by the Mosasaurus. Individuals ashore who opened the entryway to the tidal pond lose contact with the submarine pilots. The door begins to close and a Dilophosaurus can be heard taking off in the wilderness. The trees close by shake and Jurassic World's veteran Tyrannosaurus Rex goes after the gathering. Jack is left on the ground and their helicopter allows down a rope to stepping stool. They get away from the Tyrannosaurus, yet Jack is then gulped by the Mosasaurus after it hops high up and it escapes from its walled-in area. It then slices to the central area, in the year 2018, where Claire Deering, the previous park director, has now established the Dinosaur Protection Group, an association committed to saving and safeguarding the dinosaurs. After the public authority won't subsidize a salvage activity to save the dinosaurs, close by Ian Malcolm, Claire meets Benjamin Lockwood, an old colleague of John Hammond, who consents to support the salvage mission and carry the dinosaurs to another safe haven island where they will be passed on to reside all alone, protected from human impedance. Lockwood's right hand, Eli Mills, requests that Claire enlist Owen Grady, a previous raptor mentor who worked at the recreation area, to find and catch Blue, the last enduring velociraptor. Claire initiates Owen to help her salvage the excess dinosaurs from the island. Claire and Owen then, at that point, set off on a sanctioned plane with Zia Rodriguez, a paleo-veterinarian, and Franklin Webb, an IT master, both from the Dinosaur Protection Group. When their plane grounds, the gathering is shocked to find an enormous headquarters has proactively been set up, and they are met by Ken Wheatley, a major event and prize tracker. They generally set off alongside a gathering of hired fighters to reactivate an unwanted radio interchanges tower that they will use to find the dinosaurs by means of their RFID chip inserts. En route, while going through the Jurassic World Central Avenue, they experience a Brachiosaurus. Owen, Zia, Wheatley and a portion of the hired fighters go to see as Blue. Owen recommends that he set out all alone to see as Blue, and the others stay behind at the truck. At the point when Owen happens upon the fallen Explorer 04 close to the old Tyrannosaur paddock from the primary Jurassic Park, Blue leaps out and Owen attempts to bond with her before she is sedated by Wheatley and his hired soldiers. Furious, Blue handles a hired fighter and kills him, yet not prior to drawing his sidearm and shooting her, much to Wheatley's and Owen's consternation. Owen attempts to go after Wheatley, however Wheatley sedates him and takes steps to shoot Zia. Zia says that she is the one in particular who can keep Blue alive and Wheatley has his men put their weapons down. Mount Sibo emits, causing the soldiers of fortune safeguarding Claire and Franklin to frenzy and drive off, locking them inside the old correspondences community. A baryonyx shocks them by creeping through an old passage, however is briefly held under control by falling magma. Franklin and Claire barely get away from through a crisis stepping stool and lock the baryonyx inside the correspondences community. Owen rises from his obviousness, however is still for the most part stationary. He is shocked by a Sinoceratops, which plays with him for a brief period prior to moving frightened away and taking off from the oncoming magma which creeps toward Owen, however he figures out how to, scarcely, escape not long before he is inundated by the magma. He runs into Claire and Franklin and shouts at them more than once to run. The three escape the magma and falling flotsam and jetsam and magma bombs, while abstaining from getting stomped on by the rushing dinosaurs. Franklin and Claire both conceal inside a gyrosphere, when a Carnotaurus shows up and battles a Sinoceratops, prior to being nailed down and killed by the T-Rex, who likewise makes a run for it. Franklin, Claire, and Owen make a run from the consuming debris. Owen is dialed back a piece by the debris, however Claire and Franklin tumble off the edge with a few different dinosaurs. The magma bombs break the gyrosphere, and Claire and Franklin nearly suffocate, yet can endure when Owen opens one of the entryways utilizing his endurance blade. Creeping up on the ocean front, they see a few of the dinosaurs, like the baryonyx and T-Rex all being caught. The soldiers of fortune on the boat called the Arcadia start confining each of the caught dinosaurs. Wheatley takes a couple of forceps and yanks a tooth out of a sedated Stegosaurus. Owen, Claire, and Franklin likewise see Blue being tended to by Zia, who has been captured. Then the three utilize a truck to drive on the boat, which is leaving the island. They just scarcely scrape by, and watch the island wreck behind the scenes. A caught Brachiosaurus shouts to the leaving transport prior to being immersed by the debris and dying. Bidders before long show up for a dinosaur sale and put their offers on different types of dinosaurs caught by the group on the island, including an Ankylosaurus, an adolescent Allosaurus, a Baryonyx, and numerous others. Subsequent to being caught by Wheatley, Owen draws in the consideration of a Stygimoloch, making her cutting edge the wall and at last advancement the entryways of Owen and Claire's cell, permitting them to get away. In the meantime, in the bartering room of Lockwood's bequest, Eversole and Mills show the group the model Indoraptor, stressing that the creature isn't available to be purchased. Stunned by the animal's capacity to lock onto a particular objective, graciousness of a laser and an acoustic sign on a weapon, the participants start to offer on the Indoraptor. Eversole is cajoled by Mills to acknowledge offers, much to Wu's hatred as the model Indoraptor comes up short on genome, and hence can neither relate follow more unambiguous orders. Owen and Claire experience Maisie, who has gotten away from her room and found her dead granddad, and the three go into the sale room as the Indoraptor is being shown. Understanding that the Indoraptor is extremely risky to be sold, Owen upsets the sales procedures with the guide of the Stygimoloch and unleashes destruction among the onlookers, making Mills and Eversole end the bartering. Owen outmaneuvers a few hired soldiers close by to hand battle, then, at that point, inverts a switch which keeps the Indoraptor's enclosure from leaving the bartering room. Later at night, Wheatley goes into the abandoned sale room and notification the Indoraptor. Having never seen the animal and needing one of its teeth for his neckband, Wheatley shoots the Indoraptor with 2 sedative darts and enters the enclosure after the Indoraptor seems, by all accounts, to be calmed. As a general rule, the Indoraptor is unaffected by the sedative darts. He grins and occupies Wheatley by waving his tail in the air prior to cutting off Wheatley's right arm and gobbling up him. His passing is seen by Eversole, who makes a scramble for the lift, without being spotted by the half-breed, where the wide range of various leaders were stowing away, yet pushes a lady far removed so he can get to the code to close the lift, making her shout at seeing the Indoraptor, who surges at the still open lift, yet the entryways effectively close before the Indoraptor can contact them. Be that as it may, the crossover, either with expectation or by some coincidence, utilizes its tail to remove the power supply to the bartering room, which consequently resumes the lift entryway. The Indoraptor then, at that point, continues to destroy Eversole and different chiefs to death. Eli is frustrated by the absence of progress, and meets with Gunner Eversole, a salesperson who intends to sell the dinosaurs for cash. Lockwood's obvious granddaughter Maisie hears their discussion and learns of their arrangement. Eli takes Gunner to a lab, where he uncovers that they are making another dinosaur with Indominus Rex, Smurfette's Earth model, and Velociraptor called the Indoraptor, and possibly different enhancements afterward for military interests and fighting. With the ongoing one being a model, and their arrangement to involve it for strategic purposes. Maisie endeavors to tell Benjamin, however he apparently accepts she misheard them and sends her off to bed. Owen, Claire, and Franklin get together with Zia, who accepts they need Blue for something. Zia further lets them know that before she can treat Blue's shot injury, she wants a prepared blood bonding for Blue for good measure. Sadly, much to Claire's charging, the main blood match on the boat would have a place with a sedated T-Rex ready and inside one of the vehicle trucks. Thus Zia sends both Owen and Claire to recover a portion of the experienced dinosaur's blood. They track down the Tyrannosaur and effectively get her blood, however are secured in by a portion of the Watchman as the T-Rex awakens. As the unsettled creature goes crazy and whipped viciously, Claire gets away from through the top and opens the fundamental entryways of the enclosure. Owen barely gets away from the T-Rex's snapping jaws before she can mess with him down the middle. The team gives the blood to Blue before they make a scramble. Tragically, Franklin is gotten and confused with a hired soldier, and is compelled to assist with moving the dinosaurs to Lockwood Manor. Owen and Claire slip into a truck, however are found by Wheatley and detained in the storm cellar of Lockwood Manor. Maisie, having noticed Mills entering the entry code for the chateau's lift the earlier day, covertly enters the research center and watches a few clasps of Owen preparing the velociraptors on Isla Nublar. Her investigation is interfered with by Mills and Dr. Henry Wu. The last option is incredibly fretted over Blue's condition. Maisie, Trying to get away from the two men, maneuvers into a passageway and experiences the confined Indoraptor, who connects and tenderly strokes her hair from behind. Maisie shouts, alarming the consideration of Mills, who furiously accompanies her higher up and secures her in her room. Lockwood defies Mills about the last option's actual aim of selling the dinosaurs in a sale, enraged that Mills has crossed him and involved his own house as the bartering setting. Requested by Lockwood to call the police himself, Mills rather kills Lockwood by covering him with a cushion. Owen reunites with Claire and Maisie, and the three experience Mills and two safety officers in the chateau's storm cellar. After fruitlessly attempting to persuade Maisie to accompany him, Mills furiously and savagely uncovers that Maisie is really a clone of Lockwood's dearest little girl who had died in an auto crash numerous years earlier. As Owen, Claire and Maisie process this disclosure, the Indoraptor unexpectedly shows up and kills the two safety officers, provoking the others to escape. In the meantime, Zia and Franklin keep on having a tendency to Blue in Wu's lab. Zia uncovers to Wu that she had given Blue a bonding of T-Rex blood, incensing Wu, as it would now be difficult to make an Indoraptor with Blue's unadulterated, however presently clearly T-Rex blood-polluted genome. Franklin infuses 20 cc's of carfentanil into Wu's neck, weakening him, before the two are captured by a couple of shooters. Franklin liberates Zia from being bound to Blue's enclosure, and Zia liberates Blue. As Zia and Franklin escape to somewhere safe and secure, Blue kills the two shooters and departures the lab before an enormous blast happens. The short fight had made harm a few tanks of hydrogen gas inside the research center. Owen, Claire and Maisie take asylum on the principal floor of Lockwood's chateau, in the skeleton and copy showroom. They notice a human cadaver on the ground close to an Agujeceratops skull. As they approach it, the Indoraptor uncovers himself and pulls the body farther behind the skull. The three heroes take asylum against one of the walls of the skull's packaging, yet the Indoraptor effectively finds their vantage point by following their aroma and hopping on top of the Agujeceratops skull. The Indoraptor pursues Owen, Claire and Maisie up a spiraling flight of stairs before the three get away into a power supply room, where Owen switches off the whole house's power. Zia and Franklin find a hydrogen cyanide spill close to the research facility, which will kill the dinosaurs as a whole in the event that it spreads to the imprisoning region. Franklin resets the control framework to re-establish capacity to the manor. Right now, Owen, Claire and Maisie are taking cover behind a lifelike model of a Velociraptor, and Dilophosaurus participated fighting close to a glass wall. Maisie before long understands that she is gazing into the essence of the Indoraptor through the glass wall and yells in fear. The Indoraptor breaks the wall and seeks after the gathering by and by, harming Claire's leg with his toe paw simultaneously. The Indoraptor pursues Maisie up another flight of stairs and down a passage until Maisie gets away from dependent upon her room, where she takes asylum in her bed. Owen is encouraged to deal with Maisie by the harmed Claire. The two offer an energetic kiss before Owen passes on to look for Maisie. The Indoraptor, who by this point has climbed to the manor's rooftop, lets out a devilish shriek and slides the structure until he arrives at the windows, prompting Maisie's room. Hanging topsy-turvy, the Indoraptor opens one of the windows and goes into Maisie's room, gradually moving toward her bed as she shudders and cries. Not long before the abhorrent half-breed assaults, Owen enters Maisie's room and shoots the Indoraptor on numerous occasions with live ammo. The Indoraptor is unaffected, and remains back up to confront Owen. Blue enters Maisie's room and defies the Indoraptor. The two start a horrible battle as Owen and Maisie get away from the room. The Indoraptor battles off Blue and traps Owen and Maisie on the glass top of the showcase room. Not long before the Indoraptor jumps, Claire shows up and persuade him to going after Owen with the laser and acoustic sign on a similar weapon utilized in the sale exhibit. The Indoraptor charges towards Owen and falls through the glass rooftop. Be that as it may, he figures out how to snatch tightly to a crossbeam interfacing the glass sheets together and pulls himself back on the rooftop. Blue out of nowhere shows up and hops onto the Indoraptor, causing both to tumble down into the presentation room. The Indoraptor falls straightforwardly onto the horns of the Agujeceratops skull, which pierces and kills him, while Blue terrains on top of the mixture's body and escapes. Franklin and Zia enter and rejoin with Owen, Claire and Maisie, and the five heroes get away from the landmark. Nonetheless, another issue lingers. The dinosaurs are caught in a room that is overflowed by harmful hydrogen cyanide. Claire delivers the dinosaurs all's enclosures individually. Claire puts her hand on the red button that would set every one of them free from the whole structure. However, Owen beats Claire to do down in this way, hence making Claire oppose in light of the fact that she doesn't believe the dinosaurs should obliterate the world. Be that as it may, Maisie presses the button at any rate, delivering the hostage dinosaurs, permitting them to run away to the central area, shouting, "They're alive, similar to me." As Mills is going to place the Indominus Rex section into the vehicle, a rush sound can be heard. As one of the men goes to examine, a pteranodon grabs and drops him onto Mills' vehicle, killing him. The now free dinosaurs start to charge out of the house, stomping on one more gatekeeper to death. Processes promptly takes shelter under the vehicle, which is immediately stomped on and annihilated in the charge. As Mills gets up from under his destroyed vehicle and attempts to get the I-Rex piece, the T-Rex out of nowhere shows up and grabs him in her jaws, fiercely destroying him prior to tearing him in half with a Carnotaurus, and at last gobbling up Mills. The T-Rex then pushes over the Carnotaurus with her head, frightening it away all the while. The T-Rex victoriously thunders and leaves, obliterating the I-Rex part all the while and guaranteeing that no savage half-breed can at any point unleash ruin upon the world once more. Owen, Claire, Franklin, Zia, and Maisie all exit through the entry of the Lockwood Manor, where Blue reunites with Owen, and even contacts Owen's hand. Owen educates for Blue to go with him. Nonetheless, Blue denies him, as she would prefer to run free all alone than be kept in an enclosure once more. Ian summarizes his discourse, as a grouping of shots are shown, for example, the Mosasaurus going after surfers, the T-Rex thundering at a lion in a zoo. Owen, Claire and Maisie are seen driving down the throughway to an obscure objective, and Blue is shown running and bouncing onto a precipice sitting above a rural neighborhood underneath, implying that dinosaurs and people should now coincide with each other, and gets down on multiple times, toward the distant horizon. If you make it till the end, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave a feedback about this video. See you guys in the next video.